Hello everybody and welcome back to the Athlete Podcast. Today we are joined by Olivia Fowler, who is a sprinter for, it's Sale Harriers and Edge Hill University. How are we?
I'm good, thank you.
Nice. Well, I'm melting.
Same.
I've complained about this on the last podcast because it's just too warm in Britain right now.
I know.
And there's no AC in here.
Humid.
Yeah. So if I've melted into a puddle by the end of the podcast, I'm going to need you to edit it and get it out to the people. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about how you got into sprinting. What's the story behind that?
I started when I was about 8.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the first sport that I started with. I started with gymnastics when I was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then did swimming. I did netball, and then finally horse riding as well.
Yeah.
And then finally got into athletics when I was 8.
Nice.
My dad was a coach at the local club, so I started at Crewe and Nantwich. I'm obviously with Sale Harriers now, so I have moved. But yeah, so he was doing a multi-events group at the time. But I couldn't go into his what's it called, like group, because I wasn't old enough. So I started in the under 11s, where you just do like the foam javelin, you do the continuous relays, and then noticed I was...
The egg and spoon.
Yeah, a bit of everything, sack race. Noticed I was getting quite good at like the long distance kind of running. So then when it came to moving age groups under 13, I moved to a long distance group. Started doing cross countries. Never do them again now. And then when I was finally able to move to my dad's group, I moved to his multi-events group and started doing under 17. It was the pentathlon, so it was only 5, which then eventually moved to the heptathlon, so the seven events. But yeah, that's how I got in.
Interesting. It's actually interesting. I was going to say this earlier, but I didn't. But it's interesting to hear a story of getting into athletics that doesn't start with the teachers at school said I was fast, and so I went to the athletics track. Like that seems to be every single time when it's sprinting, at least it's always teacher P, teacher sports day, something like that. And then someone's told them get yourself down to the athletics track, and they've gone.
But when I was younger, to be honest, I was never quick. I was never the fastest on sports day. I was never winning any sort of race. I just enjoyed it, so I just followed what I enjoyed.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It is an interesting way of going about it, because a lot of people would be disheartened, right?
No.
Well,
I imagine other people would be, but I never felt disheartened. I just enjoyed it, and like I said, I never won anything. I was never like excelling or never had like a spotlight. It's just something that I loved, and I've stuck to it.
Fair enough. And so at some point, you did mention it to me before, at some point you had to pick. Which I'm sure happens to most people that are just interested in sports when they're younger, and they have to pick something, because first of all you can't full-time train
there's
for 2
too
things.
Many.
And also it's the cost of stuff, right? So you had to pick around the age of 15, right? And what made you pick athletics over all the other sports you were doing?
Mainly the enjoyment of the sport, how you feel when you're there, how you feel when you come home. I'd always loved gymnastics, but I felt like it had started to become less enjoyable and more of like a chore that I was training there, whereas athletics never felt like that. I feel like I was always torn between horse riding and athletics, but ultimately long term my whole family is involved in athletics. I thought you see like your parents and stuff, you want to follow in their footsteps. What was to 15, like you're quite, in terms of gymnastics especially, you're into it at that point, right? Were you competing in both athletics and gymnastics, or yes? Gymnastics was more, I'd say for myself, recreational. I did compete in it occasionally, but I was a lot more frequent with the competitions in athletics. I was a lot more exposed to that environment. But
I mean, it's gymnastics, athletics, swimming. That's a terrible sport to be doing in school.
I never competed swimming. It was more just like learn how to swim. But then I did continue it for like past being able to swim. I did the
lifeguard
swimming in your pajamas.
Oh my god! Was that part of the lifeguarding stuff?
No.
I remember I hated swimming lessons so much as a kid.
So did I.
Like I hated it every minute. Well, I've got ADHD, and so it just sort of nothing like that meshed with me. Where I had to wait because they'd like you do your turn, then you have to wait for everyone else to do their turn of doing whatever it was. Like the front stroke,
you have to
back
wait,
stroke.
don't you? And
you
just want to keep going.
Yeah, it drove me mental when I was a kid, and so I just quit at like the second level 2.
Yeah.
Because they give you, the Frosties badges and stuff like that, and I hated it. And I was like, screw this, I'm gone. I'm gonna go and teach myself how to do it. And so I did, and like I can swim pretty well now. But I mean, it's probably something I'd have stuck with if it was fun. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those. It's just you gotta try everything. Like that's what you've done
before you buy.
Yeah, exactly. Because for every single person, there's like a buffet of sports out there, and you're never gonna like every single one.
No, definitely not.
Like you'll find something that you mesh with. Or for me, I don't really like. I'm near enough like 20 years into playing football. I still don't know if I like it. I think it's just been that I'm exposed to it my entire life. Like that's all it is. But like you have to try everything, especially with athletics. There's too many disciplines in athletics.
Yeah, there's so many events that you can try.
And if you don't enjoy sprinting, you could enjoy exactly. If you really want to, you could do the cross country. But it's kind of
not
the same,
for me.
isn't it? But if you don't like that, you could try any of the jumping disciplines.
Or the throwing.
Exactly.
Pole vault. Gymnasts and pole vault tend to,
Pole vault is pretty cool. It just seems like there's that one guy, isn't there? Mondo.
Duplantis.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's like
breaking world records every week.
We had a discussion about him yesterday in the office. To be fair, it was something like he could do up to like I think it's 12.7 meters in training. But the actual record is like 11.5. Mm-hmm. And so every time you see that he's broken it, he does it
away,
a tiny bit. Yeah. Because I think he gets like a bonus.
He does.
Allegedly, he gets a bonus. Well, I don't want to like out any details, but allegedly he gets a bonus every single time he breaks a record. And so he just keeps doing it.
You may as well. If you can, you may as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Speaking of breaking records, we've got a serial one sat across the table, don't we? Tell us a little bit about all the records that you broke and what led you to them. Was it just like shock, or you're looking to break them?
I was looking to break them. Obviously, you see a record and you think, oh, that's within reach. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, I was active listening, that was
it. So you see them and think, oh, that's within reach, but actually doing it, especially outdoor records, because you never know what the wind's going to be doing.
Of course, all of the conditions for outdoor stuff.
Indoors it's a little bit easier because it's the same every time you race, but outdoor records it is very like weather dependent, I must say.
Does the actual surface change too much between the places that you're in? Like does any one place have the best surface that you like to
I'm a big fan of Stratford.
Okay.
It's a very hard track, but it's a very fast track, and I've always run well there. But I only discovered that track this year, so I've not had much opportunity. But every time I've raced there, I've run a PB, so we're gonna hope and keep that going.
Stratford's also quite a nice area.
London.
Like you're next to the Olympic Stadium.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Next to the big red thing that I don't know the name of.
I don't know the name of it, but it's cool.
The big red thing, but it's big. They've got a few other bits around there, don't they? Like the cycling velodrome place, and the oh my god, what is it called?
They've just turned where the athletics track at the Olympics was held. That's now, what football club is it?
Oh, it's West Ham.
West Ham Stadium.
Yeah. They oh my god, they did that. I always think that would be a terrible stadium to go and watch football in.
Why?
Because it's not built for football.
It's built for
because you've got like you sit and then the pitch is in the middle and then there's a whole athletics track. And it just like it distances you from what's going on the pitch, and so I always thought it would be like
is this track still around?
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was still there.
And so it ends up in like, whereas most football stadiums they're like
straight onto
big
the pitch.
rectangles, aren't they, with the pitches like right in the middle, and that's where you sit. Whereas that you've got to look like over the track. I don't know.
Distractions.
Yeah. Especially if they've got like stuff going on there, people holding flags or whatever.
Yeah.
It would just distract me. I'm easily distracted though.
So. Me too, to be honest.
But yeah, Stratford is a really nice area. But I was just wondering with the surfaces and stuff. It happens a lot in tennis, but it's known that they change surfaces. Like they can play on grass in Wimbledon. The solid sort of clay floors elsewhere. And so some people they just prefer different sort of the feel of them. But it's interesting.
I'd say I've got more like lucky tracks.
So rather than
based on like what they're made from. It's more just like, where have I run well?
Exactly.
And then there's also some tracks where there's like Birmingham's a windy track.
Oh yeah, of
so
course.
You've always got to be mindful if you're going to Birmingham, the wind.
And there's there's like a certain amount of wind at which point records don't count, do they? Because of the advantage that you're getting from it.
So if it's anything more than 2 meters a second, then it doesn't count. Yeah,
I get that, but I feel like it should be based on the former record. So if you're not just +2 over whatever, is that how it works? Am I explaining exactly how it works right now? Oh, okay, it is fair then.
Yeah. So if it's anything more than +2, then like they'll still put your time on the power of 10, but it doesn't count towards like if it was world record, it wouldn't count. If it was a ranking, it doesn't count to your rankings. But if it's a minus wind, so if it's a headwind, it can be as strong as you like.
Oh, really?
They don't care.
Yeah, no, I
know. Which is
I hate that.
Me too.
So do you have a particular preference between outdoor and indoor, or?
I like indoors.
Yeah.
Because I know the conditions are going to be the same every time.
Yeah.
Outdoors is quite unpredictable. But I say event-wise, I do prefer running outdoors.
Okay.
I just wish that there was
a little bit
the
more
same wind every time.
Yeah, normality in it, so that you know what you're going into.
Yeah, a bit more like predictability.
Yeah.
Because you
Does
never
it make you a little bit like nervous then when you're going up to compete?
I'm always checking the weather forecast.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, you can't change it, so you've just got to.
No, you're right.
Take what you've got.
Yeah.
And it's the same for everyone that's racing that day. So.
Do you sort of find that you have to allow yourself a little bit more understanding if you have like a bad race?
If I have a bad race and there's been a big headwind, I think it's frustrating because like what could have that been? Yeah. But it is what it is. It's the same for everyone that's raced that day. You can't change it. So as long as the execution of the race has gone the way I wanted it to, more like the process rather than. Okay. As frustrating as it is sometimes.
Yeah, I get that because you've prepared and trained and stuff for that moment, and then boom, 15-mile-per-hour headwind.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
What are you gonna do about it? Unfortunately.
I know.
And then you just feel as well.
There are some competitions now that have started flipping their track. So if there's a headwind, they run you on the other side. But obviously, not all tracks are able to do that. But when they can, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I bet you probably like.
It's like a relief. Thank God for that.
I mean, it's one of those really. If there's nothing you can do about it, then
you can't.
It's just an interesting little tidbit of competing. Realistically, it's not even just sprinting either. Like the wind will affect javelin, hammer.
Everything. Yeah.
I'm not so much like maybe the jumping ones, like long jump. Obviously, the run up will be difficult, but I can't imagine it's as much of an effect. As it is on like the likes of sprinting. Like a javelin, you chuck that thing up and they're really light, aren't they? And so you chuck it that high,
wind.
I reckon it can absolutely ruin a javelin throw.
Definitely.
Anyway, let's talk about heptathlons because that's probably the most interesting sport that anyone can really do. Yeah. So obviously you got into heptathlon because you didn't really see, at the start at least, you didn't really think that you were, how would I put it, like...
wasn't excelling in one event. Yeah,
exactly. And so that sort of all round, you'd be better at some.
Yeah.
That others, and that others will be worse at.
Yeah.
And then you'll be worse at some of the events that others will be better at. And so it all averages out in the end. Yeah. How did you feel sort of what was training for every single one of those disciplines like at the time at least?
Hard and intense. That's what I will say. 7 events and there's 7 days in the week. So I did tend to double up. So on a Monday I'd do hurdles and shot put. On a Wednesday I'd do high jump and javelin.
Wow.
So where you can double up, you have to double up. But then you've also got to take into account like gym sessions. Obviously with the running, a lot of it goes hand in hand.
Just so straight strength and conditioning too.
So you can do like a speed session, a speed endurance session, and like long jump and speed go hand in hand, but also you've got the technical aspect of that, which you do need to train. So it was hard, and whilst I was doing the heptathlon, I was still in school. So you've got your 9 till 3 at school, and then you're going straight to the track for like what could be 4 hours, 2 hours per event. And then you've got your homework as well. There's so much to do, but at the end of the day, if it's a sacrifice you want to make, then you'll make it, and that's what I always find. And I never found that sometimes I was sacrificing on the social aspect, but when you're at school, you're seeing all your friends at school anyway, so it's quite nice to have something. And then you'll also have friends in athletics and stuff that you'll see, and also ones that you'll only really see when you go to competition too. Definitely. Like you get like it's funny seeing all the communities and things because you guys will only come together when you have to. Yeah.
but then you're all just completely fine with each other.
And all the Hep girls at the competition, because we're together for 2 days, it's like mentally exhausting, so everyone's so close. You get to know people very well, because you see them at the highest, you see them at the lowest. So I'd say the bond that you get with the heptathlons is quite special, really.
Especially competing over 2 days.
It's hard training,
especially because I assumed that they were just over the weekend.
Back to school on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. And you just like you had your parents taking you, I'm assuming, and then they're ferrying you around to the event, and it's 2 days long, and then they have to go back on Sunday, and they got work on Monday too.
And they've got to deal with the ups and the downs of the competition, because no heptathlon ever goes perfect.
No, I can imagine, because there's just so much room for error there.
Yeah, definitely, literally.
Whereas the 10-second sprint in a 100, totally different.
There's still so much margin for error, but at least it's one, and then it's
exactly.
With the heptathlon, there's 7 possible events that can go wrong. There's 7 opportunities.
But then there's also 6 opportunities if you mess one up to redeem it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So if you have like a bad shot,
pull yourself together.
Exactly. Come on, get back up. We've got triple jump. So in terms of the training differences, when you came back from injury, so you injured your Achilles tendon. Tendon?
Yeah, tendon.
Right, sweet. You injured your Achilles tendon and you were out for about 1.5 years. And just full of the boring rehab, sort of, lifting your feet slowly and just trying to rehab it back into strength, basically. After that, you refocused in on sprinting. Just more generally, you got into your hurdles, the indoor and outdoor 60, 100, stuff like that. What was the biggest, adaptation that you had to make in terms of training, going from, was it less training, was it more strength and conditioning? What was the biggest difference?
I'd say after my Achilles, that's when I really started focusing on I do want to make this work long term now. It's not just a hobby anymore, it's something I want to turn into more like a professional career. So I started training more, which might be quite shocking because you're going from 7 to 1 event. I started training more, and it was a lot more in the gym. I'd never really touched a gym before, not properly anyway. So learning how it felt. You got to build the muscles, haven't you? Learning how it felt the next day after you've just done some heavy squats was but I also started training with a lot more intent. It wasn't just a social, I'm going to see my friends and train along the side. It was, I'm going to train to train. So I definitely found it a hard adjustment for the first few months.
It just got a lot more serious, didn't it?
Yeah, and even mentally as well. A lot more focus was involved, so I found myself coming away quite tired.
Were you eating more protein in that period as well, because you were trying to build a lot of muscle? Or?
Yeah, so I always used to be a bit funny with my food. I've always been a very fussy eater. That sort of has to go out the window now. So I eat about 4 or 5 meals a day at the moment, which is crazy. But especially when I was injured.
Insane.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it, because I'm not actually doing... Well, I actually found the rehab, I was doing quite a lot of training, because the rehab lasts forever, but the protein was just going through the roof to help everything recover. And also the collagen was going up and up and up.
5 meals a day is insane. What are you eating? I need a breakdown of every single one. Tell me now.
So for my breakfast, I'll have oats, protein oats.
Standard.
Bit of dark chocolate, some honey, chia seeds,
raspberries,
frozen fruit. Then I'll usually train in the morning. I'm definitely a morning trainer.
Okay.
I get too tired by the afternoon.
You're actually onto something there.
Really?
There was a study that proved that it's better for women to train in the morning.
How come?
Than it is. It's something to do with the release of chemicals. It's better for men in the evening. You get more out of it
in the morning.
Than a man would, and men get more out of training in the evening than a woman would. Which is
That's
interesting. It is interesting. I can't remember where I read it, but it was something
that's good to know, because I do like to train in the morning.
You've probably been training in the evening and thought this is rubbish.
And
then
when I was at school,
I feel so much better now, and
so much more energy in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
What were we talking about?
I wanted to know each meal. Yeah, you train in the morning. You have your oats ready for training, of course.
Yeah.
Lots of carbohydrates in there for quick energy release and stuff.
Then after training, I have a protein shake. So a bit of protein powder, a bit of milk.
Yeah, a Huel.
I'm not a big fan of fuel, sorry. A banana, just carbs basically, and a protein, obviously, because I've just been training.
Yeah.
I do also love, have you ever had the rice cakes with chocolate on top?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, they're my favourite. If you ever fancy a sweet treat, it's like...
Are they good?
I love them.
Oh, okay.
I really love them.
Would it really make any discernible difference if I went for getting those rice cakes, if I went for milk over dark? Or would you always say dark?
I prefer dark, but that's just personal preference.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's good for your hair, so...
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's good for your hair. I had quite a lot of dark chocolate when I was just suffering with my hair a while ago.
Oh my God, I have to start eating more.
It stimulates growth and stuff. I can't remember.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
That and rosemary oil. And
I've heard about the rosemary oil, yeah. Or like rice water as well.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be good.
Anyway.
But yeah, for lunch I have like a tuna pasta with like cucumber or sweet corn or something that. And then I love like a chicken and egg fried rice because it's really high in protein and it's actually really delicious. I have like 3 eggs, chicken.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice.
Lots of soy sauce.
No, I'm a bit of a plain Jane.
Oh, okay.
Just...
I mean, fried rice for me is always soy because that's what gives it like the fake away taste.
Yeah, the fake aways.
Yeah.
Or I love a spag bowl as well.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can hide so many vegetables in there.
I eat so many vegetables. God, we're on 4 at the minute. I've been counting. What's the final one?
Oh, maybe just like a bowl of fruit in the evening, you know, your fibre.
Okay, yeah.
But if I am lacking protein, I do just tend to go for a protein shake.
Oh, okay.
Because it's easy to get down.
Yeah.
Easy to digest.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a lot though.
Yeah.
So what's like the general calorie goal every single day then?
I've never tracked.
Oh, really?
No, I've never tracked my calories. I sort of know what I'm eating works.
Yeah.
So I tend to stick to a routine. The only thing that I've ever measured is sort of like protein or like the amount of collagen that I'm taking in, especially because of my Achilles.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But yeah, I've never tracked any sort of calorie.
I mean, you must be doing something right.
Hopefully.
Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be breaking records. So. In terms of cheat meals, then let's move on to my favourite topic. Just love talking about bad food. First of all, what's your favourite cheat meal? And second of all, when do you have your cheat meals? When do you have a little treat?
My favourite, I have a sweet tooth, so
nice.
Definitely a sweet treat rather than like, I don't know, like a takeaway. Yeah. My favourite takeaway is Wagamama's.
Okay.
But yeah, any sort of...
Oh, hold on. We have to... Don't move past Wagyu. What in Wagamama's?
Yakisoba.
The yakisoba.
Chicken, no prawns. Don't like the prawns.
No, I don't blame you.
No.
That's a...
Double chicken, no prawns.
That's a path to not arriving at training the next morning.
Having
the prawns.
But yeah.
Okay, yeah. A little... I mean,
on
the grand scheme of things, the Wagamama's is not that... Like, I mean, I don't personally...
It's just noodles, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it's just the way that they market it, but personally I don't see that as, like, crazy.
It's just delicious.
Yeah, I don't see it's too bad.
I do like a McDonald's wrap of the day.
Oh, okay.
But to be honest, I have those so often, because they're so cheap and it's just a wrap.
Are they actually... Yeah.
Oh, I think they're delicious.
Yeah, but this is the
I wouldn't say they're unhealthy, though.
But what are they hiding in the things? Like, I get it, it's just chicken and lettuce and tomato or whatever in a wrap.
Yeah.
But what are they hiding? Because I remember reading this thing about the Subway bread.
Okay.
This was in America, not Britain, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true here. But in America, they couldn't class the 6-inch sort of things as bread.
Oh.
Because there was so much sugar in them to preserve them, they were technically cake. And so when I think of that,
so
like,
funny.
What are they putting in the wrap? The batter on the chicken.
Because it's moreish, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so
it's
I just
delicious.
I don't know, maybe I just don't trust.
You don't trust it, do you?
I've got some sort of trust issues with them. After that, it was totally after I read that thing about Subway, by the way. Like, I read that and I was like, no way, that's
you're just eating a cake.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the actual timings then, is it normally after a competition, after you've sort of achieved like a medal or anything? Or
definitely after a competition.
Yeah.
If it's gone well, I want to have a little treat.
Yeah, of course.
So that's when I tend to get my Wagamama's.
Yeah.
I do to get refuel.
Is that generally like just straight because you need to reward yourself? How do you feel like the relationship is? Do you think you go a little bit crazy if you weren't allowing yourself to eat?
Yeah.
You know,
I'd always say if you're craving something, just eat it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to end up eating so many other things that aren't what you want. And then you may as well just eat what you wanted in the first place.
Yeah, and you'll go a little bit stir crazy after a while because you're not giving yourself any sort of leave.
Treat,
some people can because they're like, they just operate like that.
No, I need a sweet treat.
Yeah, and they're just more aware of the big picture.
Yeah, I think everything in moderation is always fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't restrict yourself for your whole life.
No. At some point you got to sit down and chop down the
sometimes you need a bit of dark chocolate, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dark chocolate, it's not so
or a little
bad,
cake, or...
Yeah.
Or a rice cake. I do love those rice cakes. No, honestly, they're so nice.
No, I don't disagree. But like, have a chocolate bar, innit?
No, yeah, or any sort of like anything.
If I were treating myself,
easily,
the rice cake is not where I'm finding myself. Like,
you don't knock it till you've tried it, honestly.
I have tried them.
Oh, you've tried them?
Rice cakes.
Oh my god,
I've
with
the
chocolate,
cake.
yeah.
Yeah, with the little thin layer of chocolate. Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Oh my god,
it's just it wouldn't be my first.
I tell you what, I do like. Have you ever been to? I don't know if they do them all the time, but during Easter Aldi do little gonks, and it's like a chocolate gonk, and it's filled with like creamy chocolate inside, like smooth chocolate inside.
Gonk.
Yeah, it's a gonk. Like a gonk, what you have in the garden.
I've got a gonk in my garden.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you not know
what do they look like? Are they like
a little man?
Gnome?
Yeah, like a gnome.
Oh, right, a gonk. I've never ever.
Oh my god!
Sorry, you totally like blew my head
Sorry.
off. Then,
yeah, no, they're delicious.
Okay, right.
They're just like the perfect size.
Like a little, like a praline or praline, whatever they call it.
I don't know what they are.
It's
just like a little chocolate bar.
Yeah, with like a filling.
Yeah, and it's like a creamy, like...
Just
chocolate.
Hazelnut sort of...
Yeah, like oh, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Or a cake.
More-ish though, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that you just want to eat more. And I feel like with foods like that...
Mini eggs.
They're not... Oh,
yeah.
Mini eggs. If they just... They're too expensive now. No, they're too expensive. I refuse.
I don't.
I've seen the price of the package is insane.
It's worth it though.
Like £3.25.
Yeah, but it's delicious.
Yeah, they are nice. I prefer cream egg personally.
Oh no, not
but that's just like total sugar overload. The cream egg.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Isn't
it? It can be. I don't know.
Or like a Percy pig.
Right, we need to move on because we literally just sat here naming food that we want to eat. So cheat meal always after competition, of course,
you have
because
to.
you go crazy. In terms of the actual like nutrition, when you sort of do you have like predetermined goals? Obviously, you know that you want to have X amount of protein, but are you eating in a certain like? Could you explain how you're eating to get to that goal? Does that make sense?
So I'd say definitely start with the goal first.
Yeah.
So in summer you tend to slim down a little bit for the power to weight ratio.
Of course.
But the protein and stuff always stays the same.
Yeah.
I'd say when I was injured, everything went up apart from the carbs because you don't need as much because you're not expending as much. And then in winter it's sort of just like eat as much as you can, get as strong as you can. And just deal with the consequences of that when you run. Because we're not aiming for indoor season. Yeah.
Indoor season is kind of in winter. It's like January time, right?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to balance. Some people focus their attention on indoors. I personally never have. Mm-hmm. The times that I run in indoors, I'm just grateful that I've run them.
Yeah.
But I've run them a lot heavier than I have outdoors. So, it's just one of those. Bit of everything.
Interesting. So, in terms of getting into athletics, what would be like your number one tip to get into athletics? Because there's like a few things. It's not as bad as other sports, but you might, when people think about getting into a sport, they think, I need the equipment, need this, need that. What would you say about just starting in athletics?
I think athletics is one of the easier sports to start because all you need is a pair of trainers, really.
Yeah.
Take yourself off for a run. If you can't find a track, go and run in your park or something.
Yeah.
You could even try like maybe a foam javelin, not a real javelin, but a foam javelin.
Of course.
Or even like go to the beach and try and long jump. Just make the most of what you've got.
Around,
if you have got like the facilities there, take yourself down to the track. Try and find yourself a coach that you get along with. Not every coach works for every athlete, but if you can establish that relationship with a coach early on, and that coach can carry you through, they learn everything, how you tick, how you work, how you learn. I'd say it's really important to establish that relationship early
especially
on.
when they give feedback as well, because you want to be so comfortable with them that you know that it's not like personal. Exactly. And it's just
the best interests at heart.
Exactly.
This is how you can get better. But obviously different coaches and different athletes work in different ways. So you've got to tailor it to yourself.
Because you don't want to end up getting just upset. No. Because you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, and you're getting feedback from your coach that isn't very good, and
or if the feedback that you are getting is upsetting you, maybe just take a look elsewhere and see what other coaches there are, because people give feedback in different ways. I started with a coach when I was younger, and it's nothing against that coach, but we just personally didn't work together. But he works fantastically with lots of other athletes. And that was fine for me to move away and find a different coach. And I've been with that coach for coming up to 8 years. So, once you've established that...
they'll tend to stay with their coaches for up to 20. I'd
say once you've established that relationship, you're growing together. And I think that's really important, because when it comes to like the 1% getting better, it's all in that relationship.
And just like them being able to get that performance out of you is a good testament to the relationship, and especially obviously like the relationship you got, but also like the working relationship, and how you guys synergize, bounce off each other, and are able to push each other, really, because you as an athlete are going to present challenges to this coach that they either may not be ready for or they've never seen before, and they're going to present challenges to you that you're not necessarily ready for, but it's all about pushing each other and making sure that they're ready for those things, right? So it's really interesting, and I think at the end of everything, your coach is a part of your own family, because you spend so much time with them.
Like, spend more time with your coach than you do your family at some points in your career.
Exactly.
And I'd say my coach is my friend as well. Although sometimes it might not feel like it when we're sometimes we're battling against each other. But ultimately, like, we're so close, and fair enough. I mean, it's important. It's important. You wouldn't stay somewhere at like a workplace if you didn't mesh with your manager. No. Would you? No. You just. It's like that saying, like, don't sit at tables that don't feed you and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
If you not feel like you're being fed, move away. Find someone else. There's always someone else. There's always something else for you to go to.
It's a good quote. Might go on the back of your artwork, that one. In terms of just general getting into sport, then what would be your ethos, in terms of anyone that's looking to do anything, they feel like either it's too late
never too late.
They've not found what they want. What would be your general sort of, because obviously with athletics it's different, because athletics, whereas bobsleigh is bobsleigh, doesn't change. Athletics on the other hand, it's kind of like a bit of a toy box, isn't it? You get one toy out, don't like triple jump, don't like high jump, try a different thing. Do you know what I mean?
I'd say when you're young, try everything. Try every single event.
While you don't care about getting hurt.
Exactly. And while it doesn't matter, because you bounce back so quickly when you're young. Literally try every single event, and you'll soon come to realise, like, I'm good at this, so I enjoy this, or I enjoy this, but I'm not too good at this. And I'd say if you enjoy something and you're not good at something, that was literally me for like the whole 6 years of my life. But if you stick to it and you enjoy it, you are going to improve. Whereas if you're good at something and you don't enjoy it, the motivation's not there to improve. But it's okay to keep doing that, because you're good at it. But ultimately follow your heart and do the thing that you enjoy, because if you enjoy something, you're going to put more effort in, you're going to get more out of it. You're going to try harder.
If you're not naturally talented at it. If you
definitely
feel
not.
like, that's what I want to be doing.
And you can always work on something. Like, talent takes you so far, your work takes you further than that, and you can always improve. Brilliant. And it's never too late to start. I just want to stress that it's never too late.
I was just curious, because you mentioned that you started athletics at the age of 8, and I feel like obviously starting gymnastics at the age of 2 is probably not very uncommon.
No.
But I was just wondering, in terms of athletics, the timeline of an athlete sprinting, especially, like, is that late, or is it about about the regular time?
Yeah, I feel like 8's quite like maybe slightly young, but quite like an average age to start. But like I said, I didn't start taking it seriously till about 3 years ago.
Of course.
So it's never too late to start. You can always build on it.
3 years ago, 14 records.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place to start, is it? Anyway, that'll be all. We sort of ran out of time, so I'm going to have to bring it to a close. So thank you very much for coming on. And thank you for your insights as well. And thank you, everybody, for joining and listening. And we'll see you very soon.